What's happening, guys? We're back and we're gonna do some suspension work today. Alright, so we're gonna do some suspension work today. The seat design from last week is coming along inside. Probably another week or so to finalize that. But in the meantime, we're gonna do some work on the car. So the next logical step on the car is to make it a rolling chassis. To do that, we need steering, which we have parts on order for, and we need something to hold it up. Some shocks. I picked out the shocks that I want. They are QA1 single adjustables. Unfortunately, they're like 200 bucks each. And I don't know what spring rate to put on them yet. We won't know the spring rate until we have the car finalized, get a weight for it, and then we can run all the spring calcs. So in the meantime, we're gonna put in some fake shocks. Basically just a bar with some heim joints that the car will rest on. We can build all our mounts and everything off of those. And then once the car's finalized, we can order the right shocks and springs, bolt those in, and be ready to go. So my plan is, we got some heim joints, and we're gonna use just some 1/2" gas line nipples, and just stick our heim joints in there, weld the lock nut for the heim joint onto the end, so we still have some adjustability on them, and use those, and then we can mock those in, build all our brackets and everything. I did some calculations. I think we need a 12" pipe nipple. These are 18s, so this one's not gonna work. So we need to go shopping. So let's do it. Well, that was the weirdest shopping experience I've ever had at Home Depot. We got lines and arrows. Weird times we're living in. Anyhow, back to the shop. All right, we're back in the shop. Got my work clothes on, we're ready to do something. I had a brainwave while I was in Home Depot. So I picked up our pipe, and initially I was just gonna weld this lock nut right onto the end of the pipe. And that was gonna be our shock. What I did instead though is I bought some of these caps. They're just threaded caps. So they'll go onto that pipe, and then we can drill a hole through the end of these caps, sink our heim joint in there, and then weld onto the cap rather than onto the pipe itself. That way, if a 12" nipple turns out to be the wrong length, we should just be able to unscrew these caps, grab a different nipple, screw them back on, and away we go. So it should give us way more adjustability, hopefully. Unfortunately, these caps are gonna be terrible to weld to. They're malleable iron. I believe I have welded to them in the past, so I think it's possible. But they also have like this domed end on them. So I think our first step is we'll throw them in the lathe, face them off flat, and then drill a hole right in the middle so that the heim joint will sink in there, and then we can weld them on. So let's give it a shot. right, that worked not bad. Drilling the hole with the lathe, I went and got the chuck out of my drill press and actually used that to get a fairly centered hole in the caps. And then just welded on the jam nut. This stuff doesn't weld very good. It's cast. Cast never welds very well, but it did work. And in reality, they're just for mock-up. They don't need to last forever, and they'll be in compression most of the time. So if we go ahead and do that 7 more times, we end up with this. All of our ends ready to assemble. All right, so let's grab the nipples, thread these on, stick some heim joints in it, and see what our new shocks are gonna look like. All right, there's our shocks. We ended up with an eye-to-eye distance of 15.25 when they're all threaded in like this. We're aiming for 15.5 at ride height. I believe that's where my shocks are gonna be. So that's about perfect. We can just thread our heim joints out a wee bit and this will be ideal. Obviously, the next step is gonna be to mock these in the car, but I'm gonna leave that for next week. We gotta have a project for next week. So this worked awesome. I wish I would have done this earlier actually. This would have been super handy for all the other suspension work, but live and learn. I can reuse these caps when we go to do our steering tie rods. So I like it. That's where we're gonna end the episode. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. You know the drill. Check us out on Instagram, Left Foot First Media, and we'll see you next week. I'm out of here.